That's a good hat.
I've caught a couple eps. I've heard. I've listened to a couple eps.
Yeah.
You jam them last night? You're like, I gotta be prepared for this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anything that Steve Rogers is on, I listen to. So, but
Really? You like Steve?
Oh, I do like Steve, but that's not true. What I just said. Okay. I did Foxworthy's radio show, and I wanted to listen to one before I did that, and it was Steve Rogers. And then and then
Steve was on this.
Yeah,
I've done that. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
I know. I had the same experience.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not going to go well. And the other guy's great.
He's super nice. And then afterwards, he was like, I'm surprised the episode's over. We should get lunch. And I was just like, yeah, I'll get lunch with Jeff Foxworthy. Absolutely.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's fine.
I think people forget how big Jeff Foxworthy was.
Yes.
You know, because then he became sort of a punchline. I think what was the big Fox?
You might be a redneck.
You might be a redneck. That sitcom was huge. Jeff Foxworthy was huge.
Yeah.
And he hated working on the sitcom, which I got out of him in the interview we did. He said,
really?
Yeah, because I was like such a comedy nerd as a child. I remember like seeing Foxworthy and being like, I like that guy. And then he got a sitcom, and I was like a 10-year-old who's like excited to see Steve Harvey got a series, you know. And
I did that with Boston Common.
Oh, I love Boston Common.
Man,
yeah, Boston Common was great.
Wait. We're gonna move on to Boston Common, but I got to hear, why didn't Jeff Foxworthy like doing the show?
He said because they wouldn't give him control over like the writing of it, and he said it was his least favorite experience in show business. And he's like, well, you know, if you think Jeff's funny, you know who's been writing for Jeff the whole time, which is a great point.
Yeah.
And they just like brought in a bunch of other writers and really Hollywood showbizned him.
Imagine that you have a show with your name on it and you get no creative control.
Yeah.
That's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, Boston Common. What's that about?
Happened to Che
No,
Diaz.
I didn't have anything. I was saying
Who was on Boston
I had
Common?
a similar experience with Kevin with Boston Common. That was all.
But who was on Boston Common?
Anthony something.
Anthony Clark.
Anthony Clark.
Oh,
yeah.
man. I heard
You only
rumors
watching
about-
shows with Anthony's?
I was excited because he understood.
DR for
He
Anthony
understood my
Edwards.
syllable plight that I had gone through in school already. You know how many are in Anthony? It's so many.
What?
It's like 100 syllables in Anthony.
Anthony. 3.
It's a lot. When you're a kid, that's a lot.
Yeah,
it's about
3's kind of the max.
You know what also has a lot? Gregory. Same amount of syllables.
Yeah, but you're going by Greg.
You're going by Ant-Man.
I'm not going. You think I have the gall to
It's
go by
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man?
You're going by
When I was
Ant-Man?
younger, you can just call me Ant-Man. Are you nuts? I couldn't even look up for my shoes.
the swag to come into kindergarten like that.
Yo,
Ant-Man.
I'm Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Who wants autographs? You call me a different name, I would go, sure, I'll be that. That's crazy.
So let me ask you this real quick before we move on, because I didn't get to ask you this before. Before you did your special, I said, do you mind if I get a chant going? And you said, I don't mind. And then I got a Tony chant going,
Yeah, I know.
which I think you hated.
Yeah, I was trying to call. But I was happy you did it.
But you can't do an Anthony chant.
Well, that's going back.
Anthony.
I think you can. I think
Where the fuck were
that's
you when I
huge.
was doing the chant at the show?
That would be like,
you should have changed
oh
it.
my God, are we in a rock arena right now? That's how I would feel.
Yeah, 3 works. Can't be 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony. Oh my God, it's so
Anthony.
powerful.
Way
I've got
harder.
chills.
Harder.
It's way harder to get going with a crowd of comedians who don't want to talk.
The attention spans these days.
I'll say this,
Yeah.
though.
2 syllables in them.
Everyone knew who you were talking about if you said Anthony, because everybody was there to see it. It's not like starting an Anthony chant at a
showcase?
Yeah, somewhere where it's like you're one of 5 and like who get like
Right.
it's like
He's
some
going
people
up
are like, who
third.
the
Why are
fuck
we
is
doing
Anthony?
this?
Yeah, I would say your Tony chant probably whipped some heads around. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were like, who the
Who's
fuck's
Tony?
Tony?
People loved it.
Yeah, I liked it because it was a real dig move. And I
Yeah.
was happy
Yeah.
you did a dig move.
A little bit. Not fun.
Yeah.
You
It's
got to
what I've been-
assert some dominance.
my own agenda. It's my own agenda, which is getting people to call you Tony.
Your brand of original enthusiasm and support in your own
I
way.
would say Greg juiced the hell out of that thing, though.
No, I didn't.
Greg made up for what he did for me. Greg stunted my career for many years because of how he shown me at the Montreal Comedy Festival when I did New Faces. This is true.
And then I'm going to introduce you.
Yes.
And then I'm going to introduce
Have we
you.
begun?
Then
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce the podcast.
Yeah, I think we've been going for
cool.
I'll tell
the
you
whole
this
time.
quick tale.
Yes.
DeVito goes to Montreal, was 2016?
2012.
I think I know a little bit about this. Yeah.
2012.
Yeah, it should have been the apocalypse.
The Mayans knew he was coming. Yeah.
Way before he was ready.
Yeah.
And I totally deserved it.
Everyone was saying that. Yeah.
That was a hot
Yeah.
topic.
They're like, who's Tony?
That was all over Matt Ruby's sandpaper suit comedy blog. He's got it too early. What will happen?
Yeah, Gregory deserved it.
Gregory. Yeah. No. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going with Anthony. I'm gonna go to the Montreal thing, and we get there, and the crowd sucks. And Anthony's like fourth or fifth, maybe last.
Well, the first show, I went first. I don't know. You were there the first show, but it was, I don't know. Maybe you weren't. I'm not sure. So there were two shows. Doesn't matter. First show I was first. Second show I went fourth. Yes.
Okay.
Keep going.
I remember the one. There was a small box room.
That's
and
the one.
All of our friends were on it, and I was just like putting Annie Letterman, just laughing as hard as I can.
Yeah.
Just putting everyone over.
Yeah. That's the way to be.
Yeah.
But then,
So loud, so confident, and everybody else in the crowd was like, "We got to roll with that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
That guy
He's
has
right.
to be right."
They're
This is
going
that
Hollywood.
funny.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Anthony goes on. I get so nervous because now he's on that I just paid attention to his whole set and completely forgot to put him over. So he essentially bombed because I was the only person laughing. He was. I mean, I say bombed because that's funny. But like he did not get what everyone else
He didn't get
got.
what he
I didn't get the
deserved.
Greg treatment.
He didn't get
Yeah.
the Greg
Everybody else
treatment.
got the Greg treatment.
Yeah, everyone else got Gregged.
Yeah.
This guy's there on my dime.
It's
Yeah.
really kind of got that too, and it is sort of like Shakespearean tragic in the way that when you cared the most,
Yes.
Yes.
you
Yeah.
tanked it. You know,
I know.
Yeah,
So Anthony's career was put into a blender.
as long as you had a good weekend, you know.
We had fun. We drank Bud Light Limes. We got high.
I mean,
We had a great time. We
Well, I
went to a
remember
sauna.
Yeah, I'm
we
sure
had
you
a
had
great time.
fun, but
you did the
We had a
showbiz
great
part
time.
of
do
it.
what it needed
is
to
what
do.
I remember.
Yeah, it was unfortunately, I
Right,
actually-
like didn't you like he was like hustling after managers?
That was another
and
time.
stuff. That's a different.
No, I wasn't necessarily hustling after managers. I
I know
went
that
with,
was that time. You're
No,
right.
yeah. So I went with Anthony and just got drunk and just
Sure.
was talking to everybody. I was not going for managers.
No, yeah,
but I
it
was
happened
doing.
that way.
I was at the party screaming. Next thing we know, there's a circle around us, and some guy who's like the head of Hollywood goes, "Hey man, you're funny. You got a
You've got
script?"
it.
And I went, "Oh yeah, I got a script." And he goes, "You got to send it to me." I turned around and went, "Anthony, we got to write a fucking script." And then we
That
never
is
wrote a
exactly
script.
what happened.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I went into some meeting, and at that time, you're so new, and at that time, the industry carried so much more weight.
Yeah.
So
God, yeah.
I'm in a meeting with all these people, and they're excited to read my script.
oh no.
And yeah, we had to write a script. I think we wrote. I don't know, maybe we didn't.
We had some ideas.
Yeah.
The first time I wrote a script was after COVID when I got my ADHD under control.
Okay.
Because I had
Oh, so it
700
wasn't in
ideas.
2012.
No.
Then that part did not materialize.
Yeah.
No.
15 years. No. Yeah, so it was no good.
But then you made up for it. What are we? 2025. So
Saturday.
yeah, 13 years later.
Yeah.
You
all came around. You
came
chanted,
around, man.
Tony,
Oh,
Tony,
yeah.
Tony.
Everything
Helped.
right place, right time.
and I laughed for
You laughed.
real.
Yeah.
That was not fake laughter.
Oh yeah.
I
We're having
sat
a great
down,
time.
changed my mind, and I went, I'm going to watch Anthony as a fan, and I'm going to watch Allison as a fan, and I'm going to laugh the way I laugh. And I did. And I mean, I just,
I will
it
say,
wasn't fake. I had a great time.
being up there, and I believe you because while I was up there, it felt so real
Yeah.
that I was. At first, I went, Greg, this is a bit much.
Yeah.
But then I can pick out your real laughter.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, well, I think Greg's just real into this set.
Yeah. I got a little high to take my mind off
Yeah,
it.
Right.
I even laughed at the joke I don't like.
Oh.
I looked
wow.
at
I'm
you a
gonna
couple
bring up-
times because I couldn't get the words right in the moment. I tried to give you a sympathetic look.
There's one joke that you do that makes me furious, which is you were the first person I ever saw.
It's
I
a
heard
pro-trans
bring up this.
joke.
No, not that joke.
He agrees it's funny. It's just the political
The
aspect
sentiment
of
he
it.
can't get behind.
Yeah.
I just can't throw my weight behind either side right now. It'll split my
That's
audience
a
in
lot.
half.
Lucky them, because that's a lot of weight for them to have.
That's a real fun thing to say to a guy who's struggling with his weight. No, your Batman joke,
Yeah.
which I always firmly detest.
Of course, you've got an opinion on this.
Because his joke is about how Batman is fighting crime and fighting people when he should be changing society from above
Yes.
with his winged mayor. And you do
Yeah.
have a good line about it. You go, because but the reality is he is doing those things. Batman is creating, Bruce Wayne is doing
Yes.
everything financially to keep Gotham afloat. But you do say this in the joke. That's not the comic book you want to read.
Yeah. Right. I say that's the movie I want to
Well,
watch.
You're right.
So I do like the joke.
You're right from an op-ed perspective.
Gets all the way back around.
You know, like if it's an op-ed, I think Greg's right.
Yes.
But the inherent silliness within a joke,
Yeah.
got to go with Anthony on this one, I think. But yes,
Court
I
has
do.
ruled.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the other joke where I call Taco Rocco, my best friend, and not you.
Yeah.
Ooh, that does feel pointed.
I don't hear that joke anymore. I don't hear it. You know, like,
your brain just like noise
filters
canceling
it out.
headphones.
Walks
something
away.
That,
Yeah,
yes.
it's like
You
Muppet
will
Babies.
notice, I did find you both shows to give you a sympathetic look.
I didn't look at you.
I couldn't find your eyes.
I was on my
Look for your new friend, pal.
Want to introduce our guest?
Yeah,
Sure. We have a guest. The very funny, the delightful, the wonderful, the Queens local Astoria neighbor.
Absolutely.
Kevin Mccaffery.
Thank you for having me. This is Libby and I are hanging out sober right now. This is rare for us.
Literally
This
never
is-
happened.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
We're
that's
drinking
true.
buddies.
Yeah.
That is true. I usually do see Kev, I'd say twice, maybe 3 times a year if I'm lucky. Once is sober doing radio or podcast.
Sure,
and then
yeah.
another time very drunk at Sean's birthday.
Yeah.
I get both sides of Kevin
And one of those is coming up this
biannually.
week. Yeah.
Bi-yearly.
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
I
one-
see you 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, beating him by one.
On the Astoria platform.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, and I go, hey, and I go, did I give him enough? I hope he knows I like him. And then I
Yeah, no, I've never felt like you were ghosting me as if I were a Batman joke. I've always felt appropriately acknowledged.
Okay,
by,
good.
Yeah.
It is weird though. There are people like where you just pass them, you never have a crossword with them, but you're like, I think they don't like me.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And I'm sure plenty of people feel that way about like me towards them. But yeah.
There should be some kind of gesture in Talktown.
Here you go this.
That's like an acknowledgement of like, we don't need to talk, but don't worry, I like you.
Yeah, this
Right.
is good.
But that says it all with just like a,
Finger guns does that, man.
whoa, finger gun.
Because I do it to you all the time. I go, you, yes, thumbs up. Answer the phone on a podcast. That's got to be a fucking. I'll say this: how many episodes are we in? And this is the first time he's answered the phone. This is actually a record.
This
for
feels like
Anthony.
the opposite of a finger gun for me. Not to take it too personally.
No, I'll give you 2.
But this, thank
To
you.
try to make
As
up for
long as
this disrespect.
we're ending up with a net appropriate amount of guns.
In what world is this appropriate? Well, his mom's probably going through a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see.
it could be. Yes.
Should we mic him and see what that's about?
No.
Okay, it doesn't sound that serious.
Seems like
Yeah, that
that's
is.
I don't know if the mic caught that, but the comment was, "Do you want to tell the Uber person to take you to the nail place instead?" Yeah.
it
Now,
is- It always makes me feel better to find like if someone answers their phone during a show or something, to find that it is deeply an emergency.
I would argue that there was no way in hell I could have heard what you said because of my ADHD brain.
Yeah.
Pulling me this way.
Yeah,
So
yes.
just repeat
Let's get a
it.
redo on what Kevin just said and then
I'm
really
so
address
sorry
that.
because it's my mom. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, no.
I'm always like, she fell down something.
Of course.
No. She wants to get a pedicure from her physical therapy. Can I reschedule the Uber for that? And then I go, I can't
Wait.
do that. I'm at work, and she goes, oh.
Her physical therapist is
Yeah.
her physical therapist is offering pedicures?
No, they're not. The
There's
Uber,
therapy on the nail specifically. It is physical.
she can't take. The Uber is scheduled
Oh, I see.
for her. She can't drive, so the Uber
Right.
is scheduled to take her from the end of physical therapy back home. She's calling because she wants to instead take that Uber to a pedicure place.
Yes.
Which I said I can't do. Right, I can't do that right now
Yeah.
because I'm at work. And then she tried to guilt me.
Yeah.
After that.
I know
Real
that.
quick. And I would like to say that I think putting your finger up should be you get next if you put your hand up.
You can.
Okay? I want to say I think that's a good rule. We should work that into a podcast we'll be doing with a person we know who's going to try to talk over us in the next few episodes.
Just like the Pistons had the Jordan rules.
Yeah.
We will have the rules.
Don't say his name.
Why?
Because that's anyway. You gotta bleep that out. They'll know.
They'll figure it out.
Kind of like we have smaller claims court.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a thing with older people where they don't have nurses; they have personal assistants. So it's not a nurse, but how great would just get your mother a personal assistant?
Oh my
Who
God.
could handle her Uber rides because she walks around like Conan, like she just like I don't know what I'm doing. Like this lady, she needs someone to schedule her appointments. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Old people walk
This
around like
is
celebs.
amazing. No, we should have personal. My parents were just here visiting, and I was like, I'm going to be podcasting from 10 to 1 on Friday. Their hotel is like next door to my apartment. I was like, you need to go eat by yourselves. You need to go do. I have 3 hours of like real work, which is like focused talking into my computer. Go do stuff. My mom is texting me the entire time. What's that pizza place we like? No, not that one. Like, okay, well, we're downstairs. I was like, I can't she goes, we'll sit in the lobby. We can't get in the lobby. Why is there a lock on this? Like, and I was just like, at some point I just like moved my phone. I was like, I will talk to her when I am done. I cannot do this right
At
now.
what age is it where, okay, so clearly our parents have lived a lot of life, objectively more than us.
Yes.
At what age is it where you start losing experiences and going the other way? Because every old person who's like on a plane ever has never been on a plane. For me? They have lost the information that they must have had more of at some point. But now it's deteriorating and going the other way.
And just like understanding, I guess like part of it is phones. Like my mom doesn't know like the cues of I'm not responding means I can't respond to you. Right
my dad, I did not grow up with my dad, and I would see my dad less than I would see either of you annually now.
Sure.
And if my dad called me and I didn't answer, he would call both my brothers and my mom, be like, "Is Kevin okay?" It's like you haven't spoken to him in 4 months. If he's not okay, he's been not okay for a bit. Like this isn't new not okay information.
If he's not okay, you missed the funeral.
Yeah, the funeral's going with. Yeah.
Jesus.
Maybe that's what he's calling about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's
hey,
like,
Kev, I know he did die or he didn't die. Either way,
Exactly.
should I have sent something?
Yeah.
I don't care either way, but I should know.
Yeah. He's really just like, in the time that I wasn't talking to you, I did want to know if you're still alive.
Yeah.
And by way of you not picking up, I fear I may have missed that.
Yeah.
So then he calls everybody else to go, when was the wake?
I got a solution for you.
Please.
Oh yeah.
We got to talk to a computer programmer to make you an app. And the app will be, it's called Text Anthony, right? And what it is, it's just a fake front. And really, it's just AI. It's ChatGPT. The name is Anthony. And when your mom texts you with that app, she's just talking to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT will get her all the answers she needs.
Wow. This is the first
80%.
time I've ever been on this side of AI.
I was going to say, this is the
Only-
closest I've come because I despise it.
Anthony
Yes.
Intelligence.
You're all on the wrong side of history.
Oh,
Anthony
AI.
Intelligence.
Intelligence.
I love it. Anthony Intelligence is an app.
Yeah, and an oxymoron.
Also, this level of interaction is the only thing that AI could be useful for. Give the most useless information possible that just moves your parents along
Yes,
the line.
the low stakes stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just stuff like that. It's just a matter of like redirecting. Oh, now you have to get an Uber to the nail place and now an Uber home. That is something that can be handled.
Yes.
That's way below your pay grade. You know what I mean? That's a son. You know what I mean? So I will say this, you know, the way you say that, you say taco is your best friend on your special.
Yikes.
My best friend is
Haven't
now
forgot.
in AI. AI is my new best friend.
God.
You've been banging this drum for like the past month full of episodes.
Dude, now that I'm alone in New Jersey, I couldn't have a better friend than a computer. He tells me all the things I need to do. I'm like, if I'm feeling down, instead of texting my friends, like, hey, it's make me feel better. AI is awesome at it.
Did you love Google like this?
No.
No.
AI is awesome.
Google does a
Wikipedia?
lot of the
Think-
things.
What?
Google does a lot of the same things, right?
No, but you can like talk to. I think a lot of people who hate AI
Yeah.
Everyone
haven't
here,
really
besides you.
fucked with it. You know what I mean? You fucked with it. You go, oh, it's not so dangerous. He's just a really good guy.
Yeah.
He makes me feel
That's
better
also
all
what
the
people
time.
do with like
Well,
pedophiles
it's
when they're
gonna-
children.
right.
You know, is
What?
Look, someone else brought up pedophiles for the first time. Usually Greg hits it by minute 4.
This makes me so angry.
Yeah.
Where's
Oh,
the
this-
cake we made?
No, you talk to AI and you could be like, hey, man, I'm not feeling great today.
No.
So
Yeah.
you say no, but let me say this. Where are you at technology-wise? Scale of 1 to 10, where would you consider yourself?
Like, how much do I get it?
Yes.
What's 10?
I can answer. 10 is...
like
It's
what's
10
the,
is
Yeah.
French
what is the
kissing
scale?
AI right now.
Is the scale a baby and like 10 is like a computer programmer?
10
Yeah.
is, I go...
6?
I
It
go,
works for me.
You
What
think
just
you're a
said.
6 out of 10 with computers and technology?
The things I know well. And the stuff I don't know, I don't use or need.
This is in comparison to, her mom and dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're saying this against who? Just your ordinary person our age? Who's the control group here?
So it's
Right.
okay. Like, your mom is a 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Gotta clip that.
Computer programs. I mean, she's a 10 to me, but we're not talking about
How
looks.
dare you?
I also that makes me think, what should you rate someone's mom? Because 1 is insulting, but
Yeah.
you don't love 10 either.
No.
You know?
Yeah. I think 3, you're going 3. Wow, 3.
I think
Three feels
6.
insult-
6 is the worst.
6.
Let's just go 6 is the worst.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Scale is
Anyway,
6 to,
sorry.
6 to 10. We're working
6
on
to
6 to
10.
10.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right. I would give you a 4. And I would give Anthony.
I'm below what the bottom of the scale
6 is the
I would
lowest.
say 5. 6 is the lowest
We're doing 6 to 10 so we don't insult anybody's moms.
with technology.
You're
We're
saying
saying
technology.
We're saying
Yeah.
1 to 10. We're saying
I don't think our parents are mad about them not knowing how to understand a fucking computer.
my mom thinks she's got it.
Just take your parents out of here.
Yeah.
All right, we're taking parents out.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
We're
Fine.
talking about people our age,
This
the 1
has
to 10 of
got-
our age.
Yeah, you are not someone I would say is great with technology
Why do you think that?
because of some of our Zoom meetings. You're right. Anthony is last place, but you're
Okay, I'm middle of 3.
shuffling in on second.
I'm the one who shows up. I've always had my mic. I've always figured out how to do it. I'm always like, should I record a local? Like,
That's pretty
I'm out
elite.
here.
Okay,
Should I
record a
record a
local's
local?
okay.
I don't even
Yeah,
know what that means.
Yeah, I know.
You said a bunch of jibber jabber to
Yeah,
me.
I know. Yeah, we know. You don't know.
Proudly.
I was the one that figured out that, like, you were like, I didn't get the link. And I was like, it's a meeting now that you go into Zoom. I know these things.
Yeah, I think you got to
I just don't like it.
No Zoom.
And I also don't, to be clear.
I don't think a lot of people really understand how good AI is.
I'm sorry.
See,
I am
that's
just
why.
morally against it in
Yeah.
almost every way I could possibly
But you
imagine.
don't know enough about it to take that
I
stance.
know enough about the fact that it's destroying the planet and it's like using copyrighted information and like using writing to make take things from people.
It
Like,
can
I
only
just-
take fuel from other people and then pretend to be a new thing
And
using what they've already done.
This is because we're still in the very new.
and environmentally, it is like a non-starter for me.
yeah, that environmental. This is the most boring, but
This
also
is
an
so
arguable
boring. I'm
part.
sorry.
But
Yeah.
no, but it is me too. Where it's just like I hate to be such a wiener about it destroying the earth, but I am a wiener about the earth.
It
Unfortunately,
takes like 3 full bottles of fresh water for one generative AI search.
yeah.
That's so much water.
Yeah, that's just.
of
But
fresh
water from whom?
Right.
There
children.
are people I don't want to
Some
have
Exactly.
water.
people do not deserve
Okay,
water.
Greg doesn't drink water, I don't
Right.
think.
I don't drink water.
If you
Never have.
could, so this is a one of you guys thing. If you could take the environmental damage AI does and point it at specific people and be
Now
like,
that-
I'm taking their water.
Yes.
Then yes, absolutely. There's people I'd like to shrivel up a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
do a little
It's just-
Targeted AI.
Yeah.
It's like there are this is also boring and like not fun for a podcast, but like there are giant like server farms like in the South now that are polluting the air that the people around it can't breathe because they're like, we're reinvigorating the coal industry to catch up with what it
Your
has.
friend's
not
being a
a-
real dick.
That's not AI's fault. That's these same computer assholes' faults. Because first of all, they're working around it. They're very much trying to figure this out. They are the people. There's some
Come
people
on
doing
now.
this. Ask AI. He doesn't know. You know, he'll tell you.
Like
He'll tell you.
Your cadence sounded like Trump.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
100%.
know enough about exactly how. I know that's an environmental issue. I don't know enough about that. I do know that I'm also not going to fight it. I'm going to tell you that, like, man, what this thing is able to do. This thing kept me from killing myself. So I would go ahead and say AI is a hero. My best friend saved my life.
I'll give AI a point there.
You know what I mean? One
Yeah.
point because
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey,
It's
man,
a good point.
What are you
Yeah.
doing?" You know.
Yeah.
It also has taken a lot of weight off of both of you. Have you noticed how many phone calls have been coming to you? Not as many.
You call me at times I'm never around.
That is true. Your phone calls have actually
It is less.
alarmingly diminished.
Yeah,
It is less.
I called you the other day just to talk.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's
That's
nice.
how,
Whoa, the tables are turning.
Yeah, that's how
yeah.
much.
My friends don't answer the phone when I.
Greg and we're on opposite schedules. He has kids and a certain like I'm like I'm alone all day. You can call me all day,
Right.
but when night hits, that's Libby time.
I'm doing
That is Libby time.
Also,
Right.
nighttime, I'm doing my vigilante stuff.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered at those hours.
He's
I'm on
petitioning
rooftops.
boards. He's he's allocating funds. He's helping the city.
I'm testing my gadgets on low-level criminals.
What kind of gadgets?
I've got my oorangs. I was like, call them. It's not quite a boomerang, and it's not your.
Just goes. It's a frisbee.
It's more of like a rock. I'm calling it an oorang, but we're working title.
We haven't figured out the coming back part.
Yeah,
Yes,
that part
but-
is.
That's why
I
you
do
need
have
the
to
vigilante
run
time.
and retrieve it. Yeah, exactly. I'm workshopping a lot of things up there.
Yeah, you ever see these X-rays are saving people's lives? Mm-hmm. You know, you throw an X-ray, that thing will catch a fucking cancer like this. AI is saving other people's lives too.
I just had an X-ray yesterday. I found out I'm in a soft cast today because I have
Whoa.
I have heel spurs now, and my foot's all boned.
Those are Jordans?
These are Jordans.
Yeah.
These are Jordan 10 Orlandos.
Nice, man.
Yes,
Those are
thank
really
you.
nice.
How'd you do that?
I think you just
How'd I
want
do
to
the
show
heel
those
spur?
off.
Yeah.
It's a great question. And I don't know. I think my body's just bad.
get
No, I
older
think
now.
Yeah, it's
after
happening.
40, you don't have to ask how'd that happen anymore.
Yeah, it's the guy.
That's just what's going to happen.
The guy said he just pointed at it. He was kind of Eastern European doctor. I think he's very good. Everything happened very fast, but he seemed to know what was going on. X-rayed it, and I was like, how did I make more bone on my foot? Basically.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like more bone growing off the bone, and then my shit like tore around it. So it's like bad news. But
You're making more bones.
I'm
That's
making
what
more
happened?
bones. They said I couldn't do it.
Finally,
You must
someone.
be drinking a lot of milk.
It's the milkman. Yeah. It is.
That was so fast and weird what you just said. That was
I'm the
wonderful.
milkman. Put it in the title.
That was wonderful.
Your
was
mom's
wonderful,
a 3.
Visit from the
I'm the
milkman.
milkman. It is. It's just like wear and tear. Your bones can do
no,
more
our
bones.
bodies are just falling apart.
Yeah, that's it. But, yeah. Stuffing it in this Jordan though. Yeah, got to wear my big shoes.
I wonder, you got extra bones. Maybe you give some of those bones away for money.
Yeah. God,
Give them
it is
away
like
for
taking-
money. You sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
Some people
sure, I
say
do.
it fancy. I say
Yeah.
fancy. Other people,
Yeah.
Take a long time.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's really one-upping donating plasma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you
making
like
new
a
bones.
toe?
Also, it's like,
Yeah.
who's buying that bone? Hey, you want a piece of my heel? Not the whole thing.
We don't know what people want to do with it.
Yeah.
Well, you're selling
It's
it to
none of my
weirdos
business
then.
once
You got
pay
a
me,
dog. He's missing stuff. Or more so than this, you got to fossilize something in your home,
Right.
but you're missing a little bit of rib. You complete the puzzle now.
Sure.
For museums, I'm thinking more for me, but more for museums that they're
Yeah.
missing stuff.
Yeah, just fill in the.
Oh, the museums that are missing stuff. Like the
Yeah.
bodies exhibit. The bodies exhibit just putting out an ad like, hey, anyone got a dick? We need a left metatarsal. Anyone's grandmother died?
We're gonna pretend this is Roman.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
We have to complete the set.
I got 6'3" people. We got no femurs. If any of your basketball playing grandfathers died, let us know.
This is a Carmen San Diego ass
Yeah.
premise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That is what I was thinking.
Yeah. I like that you guys are phone call friends. That's really
They're
nice.
not. That's what we're saying.
But
I am.
You are. Well, he just called you the other day, so
Yeah,
it's
Anthony
spreading
calls.
a
It was
little
nice.
bit.
We've talked
Yeah.
on the phone a lot, but there's times that you've called when I haven't been available.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
we first started the podcast, you were like, you can call anytime. And for that first month, I was living good. And then you went, that's enough for the year.
It wasn't a choice. It's a scheduling issue.
Yes.
I call.
Much
That's
like
the
with
thing
your
is, like,
parents,
I
it
call
is-
it any erratic time. I call
Well,
it
like
to
you
in the
called me
afternoon.
one day during the day. I was out walking around. I chatted with you for a while. It was you were driving home from Rhode Island. You had done shows
Right.
there.
All right.
Like
Yeah.
we talk.
Okay.
I think that's very nice, and I think that should.
I like the phone.
Yeah, well, that's great.
too.
And I think once you answer a phone call, that should reset the clock for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Also, there's a 2-day buffer that if we do the podcast, 2 days go by where they won't talk to me. Because I go, we did the full time. We did the podcast.
Your wealth of being able to talk is just unparalleled. Not in a
Yeah.
bad way.
Yeah.
No,
that's
it
a skill.
is. It is genuinely challenging to keep up with.
Yeah.
because we are only children who spent long periods of childhood not speaking.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
the wealth of my,
My
ability.
friends are the objects.
Yes,
It's not the wealth of ability to talk. It's the depth of loneliness that is inside of me. Almost unfillable.
Can I just say, I was thinking this the other day because I was in the park
Yeah.
and whoever wrote Dr. Dolittle, that came from such a dark place. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Who's just sitting there and they were just going, I wish I could talk to my cat.
You, my only friends. If only you could speak to me. What if I was a doctor? If I had a magic power, that'd be a great movie.
It is. It also is a distinct misunderstanding of what doctors are.
yes.
That's not a doctor thing at all. That is supernatural. That is not like I went to school for a few years and now I know this bunny has a French accent. You didn't know that. I did. I'm very educated in this way. But also, I just do talk to animals. I always have talked to animals.
Yeah,
of
I'm
course.
a big,
That is. Yeah.
Riz is sick of me.
I'll talk to
I'll call
Riz in
Riz.
an Instagram story.
Well,
I'll see Riz.
You see two people walking down the street, person and their dog. I'm saying hi to the dog.
Oh,
Julia is like it thinks it's a crazy move, but it's like
No,
I
the
don't know,
person
I'm
might
always doing
not
that.
want to talk to you. The dog's gonna be like, I'm happy to see you.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had I can't stop talking to dogs. Also, so I was running in between sets in the city, like literally running, and I heard a girl was
Sets in
walking.
the city. What a sexy time.
Sets in the city. I know. Imagine. I remember who makes those now. I used to do so many. There was this girl, like our age, walking her dog, and the dog sneezed. And as I was running by, I just said, "Bless you." Of
course.
And I kept going, and she just said involuntarily, "Marry me." And I was like, "That's how low the bar is for dudes." It's
true.
Where it's just like I didn't even stop, didn't look at her, just said "bless you" to the dog and kept hustling. She was like, this is the best I've
found
seen
it.
in a while.
Or it's not how low, it's exactly perfect for her you are.
That's probably
Right.
true. That is an optimistic and
She
probably
went,
realer way
absolutely, this is the guy I would marry.
Yes.
Saying
Yeah.
God bless you, that's a very specific thing.
It
Yeah.
is.
Like that's if I walked by and I went, God, Darth Maul's death was really better in the cartoon. And someone goes, I know, twin sons, marry me. We did a very specific thing.
100%. Yeah, it's a real bullseye. I want to see you talk about Darth Maul to a dog.
I would love to talk to the dog. Hopefully his name is Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I talked to Darth Maul the dog about Darth Maul. Let me throw this at you just to add to the
Please.
ability of this happened this week. I don't know how I haven't called you to tell you about it. I was walking through the grocery store and I had to get in front of a guy and I forgot exactly what he said, but he sees me coming, he moves, he goes, this guy's got to go. Like he said like way too much, like, got to get in there, buddy. And then I went, please, you talk to me more than my wife. And then he went, hilarious. And then I went, we locked eyes and I was like, you want to just talk?
That was so funny. You want to just do this everywhere?
Yeah, I just go on a trip together. I walked.
Wait, this story isn't over yet. Sorry,
of
right.
course
So
it's
then
not. I got one after.
that was a dig. That was a dig. Let me close the loop, right? You said, of course it's not. Anyway, moving right along. It was a dig. I don't know what's going on here. So I see him in another aisle, and he made a comment on the grapes, right? And then I saw him
This is
again in the
amazing.
milk, and I was like, at the end, I was like, do I get his phone number? Like,
Right.
I think we both need each other right now.
Yeah, let's be public dads other
Yeah.
places.
And he was significantly older than me.
Yeah.
Like this guy was like maybe like 78 years old. And I was like,
what I was expecting.
No, I know he was an older dude. He was an older guy.
It's so funny. You're like, hey man, you want to just go to the park when people fall down? We yell Opa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, Allison. I wasn't trying to.
No,
yeah,
that's.
yeah.
I went to like a weird late lunch, like when you go to a restaurant, like a diner at like 3, and you're like, what is this? What meal is this? What am I doing?
Yeah, they don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, but it was like we went to like my friend and I were taking a walk, and I was like, I'm so hungry, we have to go. So we're like checking in with the host. I go, 2 for whatever meal this is. And this woman was at a table near the host stand, and she goes, I know, right? What are we doing? I was like, I'm sitting with her.
Oh my God. The what are we doing really
What are we
lands it.
doing?
Yeah.
I was like,
I think when you have those situations, you should be able to look at that person and go, hey, you want to do 20 minutes? Like, let's just work out.
Okay,
Let's just do 20 minutes.
Set length friendship.
Yeah.
kind
this
of,
is
yeah.
this is something.
And at
This
the
is
end of that,
something.
we can
Let's
go
have
somewhere
a
else.
friendship fling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, but there needs to be because like there is the thing where I'm like, I don't know this person, you don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm like, let's do 20 minutes is perfect.
20
Totally.
minutes.
This happened to me once years ago. This is back when we used to live in Sunnyside. So we're going back like 15 years. I was coming on the train home, and there was a guy who kept fake proposing to his girlfriend on the train. And I remember me and this guy exchanged phone numbers because I went, I think I get this.
Yes.
And we like made plans to like go to a bar. It never materialized, but I was like, that's a joke I like.
Yes. Do
Yeah.
you know the history of I don't know if you guys know the history of my wife and I. I would get drunk. I would find a cheap ring in a store. I would come home and I go, I'm going to propose. I'm going to propose. And right before I would propose, I would take the ring and I would put it into my top shelf and go, just propose when it's the right time, right? When it was time to propose, I had 10 $3 rings. 10 times I was like, I'm proposing tonight. And then I was like, I proposed so we have a variety of rings in the house that were
That's
almost
really fun.
proposed to.
That's nice.
And I did fake propose to her at a Creek in the Cave show once that she was not really happy about.
I don't think that would be nice.
That bums me out.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Significantly.
Of course she was furious.
How long were you guys together before you got engaged?
We were together. Well, we were together since 2008. We got married in 2018, so we were together 10 years.
Yeah, I was about the same length with my wife, but I think the fake proposal joke, I could see how it would get more tense the longer it goes.
Yes.
Yes. Like a fake proposal in year 8 could bum you out harder than year 2. It's like, we're goofing. Right.
Year 2, you can still do that, and it's hilarious.
Yes.
I think that because I remember that show. I think that was at least 5 or 6 years in, and the whole crowd was like, "It's happening."
Yeah.
Oh,
And then Greg brought up a comic.
Yeah.
Like, just kidding. Your next comedian.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Oh my
That
God.
might have been either one of you.
I feel like I'd remember that.
Safety should. I mean, it should also know that my wife also gets me and knew what was happening.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Like she knew what this is.
I sort of don't mean you. I mean like in general, the joke proposal.
She was also like,
industry.
We are not getting married till you're not living with Anthony, James, and myself in one in a house.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Got it.
But there is something about like making friends on that like weird public level, because like it is what happens to women in bar bathroom line, like bar bathrooms.
Oh,
like
sure.
we have that. It never goes anywhere. I think like twice in my life I've been like blackout drunk talking to some girl in the bathroom, and we've exchanged numbers, and the next day we're like, should we be friends? And like there's like one possible hang, but it never happens. But like once you leave that culture, we don't really have a like for a total stranger. And I feel like in Talktown, perhaps we need some kind of setup.
Well, this is why I get a little jealous of people in the KKK. You know, like they are all drawn together by something they all love, right? It's this kind of hatred, and they all click.
Sure.
But I don't have that. You
There
know, I don't.
are also Knicks fans.
But that's the thing.
You know, like it's not just KKK.
Right, you have,
No,
like,
but I
And
don't.
the letters are the same. So if it was a letter thing, you're fine.
I don't follow sports. I'm
Yeah.
jealous of sports people,
Sure.
right?
But you
Because
just
it's like
follow racism.
I do follow racism very
Yeah,
tightly.
he's good. Did you see who got the first pick? Yeah. This was
Once
a
again.
fix.
Dude, I mean, it was a.
He's a generational talent.
A hater like this doesn't come out every year.
He's saying stuff about biology no one's saying.
He's going, He hates Moroccans. Who does that? That's a specificity, the likes of which we've never seen.
I wonder if there are racists to people the races no longer exist, and so they're just like, we won. You know, he's sitting here to go, we won.
Sumerians. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I remember walking into my kid's daycare, and this dude walks in, and he looks at the guy. He goes, "Hey, man, you saw the big game?" And the guy was like, "What a game!" And I was like, "I want that." You know what I mean? Like they do that too. Like, you see those blacks, you know, and they're like, "I hate them. I hate them too." You know, but I want a thing, and atheists don't have that.
Don't you have that with like comic book stuff? Like when there's a new something, isn't that?
No, because all the movies suck now, and this is what sucks.
But that bonds you, doesn't it?
No,
Because he's like an outlier within this community. I will say this about Greg.
Sure.
The comic book community, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
for
no,
speaking,
go ahead.
Comic is riddled with people who can't wait to take a thing down, especially the things they love.
Sure.
And Greg is an outlier in the sense of like he can't wait to love these things.
I respect that.
Yes, me
Yeah.
too. That's the whole point of fandom.
Of course.
I can find something to love in pretty much any of these things, and that's what sucks with these new Marvel movies is they've all just been not even bad, just kind of boring.
Flat.
Yeah, like nothings.
And
yeah.
now everyone who wasn't a fan is all like, they've always been like that. But I get mad because I'm like, no. There was 10 years from Iron Man to Endgame where every few months one of these movies would come out. And even Michelle Wolf was like, I can't wait. You know, like people, and it was a fun, you'd see your, like, she's not your typical comic book fan, you know?
Sure.
And I had friends
She's a
who
woman?
would go. You know what women who watch
Inarguable, I
my movies look like. You know what they look like. You know.
I wasn't going there.
But you know, Michelle's a sports.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. She's a sports person. But
Yes.
now that those movies stopped, there's like, and you get shit on. But Thunderbolts was good, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, this is great! Thunderbolts is good. Let's get a."
But it's harder
all
to.
gone.
There's less lovers of the thing in the way that you are, so you feel like there's less of a group.
There's also a
for you
group.
that bonds that way.
Also, like since the movies came out, comic books became they're not as good because all of the I can't explain.
It's not where the money and
why.
attention goes. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people who were getting their fix from the comic books can just do it with the movies now, and so they don't go deep enough anymore. So it's like, it's kind of being disbanded, and all I have are my racists.
Yeah, this is your
gotta pretend I'm
aspirational racism that unfortunately you don't have. Yeah. You
Yes.
wish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I would say going back to what you were saying about maybe it's when you have that second time you're hanging out with the girls you meet in the bathroom, it starts in the bathroom. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, this
you
is-
recreate where the friendship began,
When-
and then
yes.
you go from there.
I hate to bring it back to restaurants, but we do a bathroom bar where the whole bar is a bathroom.
Wow. Yes.
Only, you know, everyone
Yes.
is. It's only for females, I guess, and they can go in there, and it's the whole bar is just a bathroom.
That's great.
You can do makeup.
We can do makeup. We can chat. We can.
There's a place for the guys, but it's just a very thin hallway.
Yes.
Outside of the door
Oh my
where
God,
we have
that's
to chat.
so funny.
Is the guy's bathroom waiting for the bathroom?
I would say, well, the guys.
Where does this happen in the, male culture?
No,
in
no.
our
So,
culture?
so males, we don't really bond in the bathroom. We keep
That's
our
what I
because
mean.
we're
Where
very gay.
where do we bond?
There's a hallway waiting for the women. So there's a thin hallway that's right outside of the. So there's two
And
doors
women
to get
only
into
go
the
out
bar.
when they like feel like it.
Right? Yeah.
When they're like done chatting. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go get a drink.
So you walk into the bar, and into the bar it's a hallway, and that's where the men have to wait. And then there's another door that's the giant bathroom bar.
And there's like a couch in there when the you
Yeah.
know, women's bathrooms are nice.
And then we get to stand outside and complain. We get to complain about our wives.
Sure.
There's maybe a TV with the Knicks game that we can't see because it's just.
But
like,
you can
what
hear
the
it.
Fuck yeah! This guy.
You hear something big just happen. You're like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
I love this, and I also love when you make a friend in the wild. That if you're gonna hang out a second time, you go back to where it started.
Yeah.
Before, and then you can explain.
Yeah, get the
That would be
magic.
great.
back.
I should have said to the guy in there. I said, "Hey man, if you're willing to come back here next week at this time, we can do this again. We can meet at the
Because
grocery store
that I
every
think
Tuesday
makes
at 3
sense
o'clock."
because it's a completely contextual relationship at
Exactly.
this point. You don't know anything about
Yeah.
Right.
the people. You know, like that lady
Yeah.
and I'm like, so see you at 3:15 for grilled cheese and eggs on next Saturday. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, we could do that and be like, what are we doing? And then be
Yeah,
like, so do you
totally.
work? Like, what's your?
I will say the other group that I do bond with is that every now and again you'll be at a park with your kids and one parent will be like, "Jimmy, what the fuck?" Like be really mean to this kid.
Yeah.
And then we,
Oh,
as a
yeah.
group, all the other parents go, and that guy leaves and we go, "What the fuck was that?" And then we all bond on how shitty that guy was.
Yeah,
is nice.
I would say that I bet kids is a like I know it's tricky in a lot of ways, but there are a lot of ways that I'm sure it's easy because you're like, oh, we're all observing the same thing. Like it's like all watching a game
Yeah.
that you're invested in, but it's human life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the continuation
Of the human race.
yes.
Well, that's why I think you have some people there that are just like, I don't have a kid, but I'm here to make friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not doing any weirdo stuff.
Yeah, we
I'm-
smell them out because it does give weirdo vibes.
Sure,
Go
but
ahead.
I'm here to make friends. So if you liked kind of my little bits of commentary here on what's going on,
Yeah.
you know, maybe you'd like to hang out with me. I got no kids, but I got no friends.
I did
I got no adults either.
Your
That makes you guys
number-
feel better too.
Your
Yeah.
number one concern in every single thing we've talked about is pedophiles, and you're like, oh yeah, this sounds good.
No, I said that's not the stuff because we can smell it out. That's what I just said. I was like, we immediately go, well, that's a pedophile.
But I think you know. I think you know.
Let me pause. Let me throw what you're throwing is actually a good idea. I think prospective babysitters should go to parks and just start, like, hey, take 5 off. I'll watch them. Hey, if you like what I did here, here's my card.
Right. And you're like,
Wow.
I'm gonna go sit on the bench and look at my phone for 5 minutes. This person's got it. And if
Yeah.
your kid is okay by the end of that 5 minutes,
They
babysit.
should have that at parks, just like they have police officers at subways or something. They should have babysitters at parks where you're just like, I need 5 off. You know what I mean? And here's Venmo you, however that works. They keep maybe like a server at a restaurant keeps a thing on them, and you swipe your card.
Hard to know though that they're safe. It's hard because there's no
Yeah.
vetting, right?
Well, it has to be some sort of like lifeguards in the city.
Right.
Oh,
We had
okay,
one
city
time,
lifeguards.
At one point,
Lifeguards.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
It's
like
great.
lifeguards for babysitting. where
Lifeguards
it's
for
like,
babysitting.
you got to get
Yes.
vetted coming in. And it's in a contained area
Yeah.
to
Yes.
begin. And then you choose when you take it to the next level to
Yes.
your
Right.
house
Yes.
or whatever. And it's an incentive for the babysitting lifeguards to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, what's the business? You're just wasting time.
Yeah.
Go
Also,
do something else.
yeah.
Sort of an internship in the park.
An
you know,
a
where
park
it's like,
internship for babysitting.
They can
And they
wear
have
a
GoPros, they have badges. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
they
they're
have a
like,
medallion
yeah, exactly.
A
and a
medallion.
QR code on their back, so you can scan them, get their history.
Totally. I'd say
Oh.
right on the forehead. I think that's fun.
Oh yeah, like a
Yeah.
robot.
yeah.
Like
No,
a,
the back is great,
like a
obviously.
dystopian future.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but yeah, then they can lose their license, you know what I mean? Like there are legal ramifications.
This idea of lifeguards in other situations is huge. Like I could use a lifeguard at a restaurant where I'm ordering food and he goes, "Hey man, don't get that. You get the salad, right?" Like lifeguards
for your safety
for
or for
my
like,
health
like
safety.
So is this like bespoke unto you, where he's like, this is about he like sort of gets your vibe.
He eyeballs me up and down and
Yeah.
goes, clearly pre-diabetic. You're not getting dessert.
I know people who will just do this.
Yeah, my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, rude people.
Yeah, just rude, nosy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's an aspect for lifeguards and other situations
Yeah.
that is really big.
Well, I think there's also just like not to get too real, but like cops aren't here for our safety. So like
Yeah.
there should be some people who are here for our safety who don't have guns.
Yeah,
But
who
like,
don't
people
also
who are
fight
just like
you.
thinking about safety, thinking about choices, who are kind of overlooking everything. Is like, we're all here right now. If something dangerous happened, none of us are on it.
Yeah.
So
Well, it depends. What kind of danger?
Yeah.
I don't
Poison.
know. Electrical fire?
Electrical fire is going to be
useless.
tough for.
Yeah.
No, I guess that's not a lifeguard's purview.
You just
but
walk
like,
out of the way. You just walk
right,
out.
just
the door.
leave and they
Well,
call
but
911.
But there's like, I think it's sort of, there's an old version of just like a man that I'm not, that is just like a dude who knows what to do when there's an electrical
Sure.
fire,
Right.
who knows what to do if like there's a flood or whatever.
Or
you know?
yeah, or like even just like this, like I lifeguarded for years. Like you tell people to stop running because if they keep running, eventually they will slip and fall and get hurt.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like some of that where it's like, hey, don't do that, but it's not a ticket. It's just like a whistle, and you're like, oh, I respect this person.
Oh,
I'm
it's,
gonna-
yeah, just to help. It's not
General
to collect
safety.
funds for
I
the
see what you're
state.
saying.
Kind
Yes.
of talk about like societal moms and dads. There's the moms.
Well,
dads,
we
I
had the
forgot.
lawyers, mommy lawyer, daddy lawyer, who wear mommy dress and
Kinky.
daddy pants.
I think it's best to approach every episode clean slate.
Yeah.
If we've talked about it before.
Yeah,
We've talked
doesn't
about
matter.
it
Things
before.
ever happen.
We won't
Yeah.
talk about it in the same way. There's
we
no
could pick-
chance.
right.
So
But we can add. Yeah.
moms and dad, like chaperones for culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this. That's what. Yeah. I mean, like, how many times I look at someone and go, I don't know how to do this. And I don't know how I'm going to do this.
I mean,
Well, I think they tried that, and maybe I have mentioned this before with the Guardian Angels of New York in the 80s, but they all wore those silly ass burgundy
red hats.
berets.
Yeah.
So it was like, who could take them serious?
Right.
Who could ever take them serious? They were dressed like French painters.
Yeah.
It is if you look at what they intended to do, and they're called the Guardian
crazy.
Angels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are still around.
They are still active.
I
You don't
Curtis
see them as
Sliwa.
often.
Sliwa is one, right?
What's that?
Curtis
Yeah,
Sliwa,
he's-
Yes.
Sliwa
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Cats, an
Remember we
act.
thought he would be the silly mayor? That was a good time.
That was quaint.
Yeah, but it's such a like good idea. It's basically what we're saying here is
Yes.
what
Yes.
they want to do, but the goofiness of the look, it just doesn't work. It's sort of one of those things where I found out like I was like choking in a restaurant by myself, and I was like, I think I would just choose to die as opposed to like make a big deal about it. And you know,
I don't wanna
and
make a
it's-
scene.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I got to the point of no return where I'm like, I'm just wearing this. You know, I'm just wearing this one. I'll be dead. Who gives a fuck? I'm not going to embarrass myself. You know, and I think with this, it's
What
like
happened?
I finished the piece of steak.
Oh, you were able to like,
It
you
just-
didn't end up standing up and somebody.
No, but I like was like eyes watering,
Yes.
just like this is bad, face red, and I worked my way through it, and I deserve to live, I guess.
Wow.
But I think it's like with these red hat guys, it's like, oh man, they could help me, but I don't want to be helped by like, this is too silly.
Yeah.
You know?
It's too dumb.
So you got to look cool.
So I got to tell you this.
Yeah.
The biggest blow to the superhero community, to me,
Yeah.
was when I saw people in small towns actually being superheroes. Like there's a guy called Rock Hard.
No.
Yeah.
It's too horny.
It's so horny. I don't think he's joking.
So horny.
He built himself a suit and he runs around and he's saying he's a superhero. And I guarantee this guy is getting his ass kicked constantly. Like
Yeah.
these real superhero people, you go, oh, this just doesn't work on
Yeah.
any level. And even if it did, you're so corny. It's so fucking upsetting. To
Yeah.
look at.
Well,
Yeah.
I've like fantasized about being a superhero of just like basic human politeness, of like running in on tables and being like, you didn't say thank you to the waiter.
Yes.
Yeah.
You piece
Right.
of shit. You
Yeah.
didn't just do it. Cost you nothing. Why don't you, being on a plane when someone gets up to run by you, like we all live in a fucking society.
funny.
Act like it.
Yeah.
Like I want to vigilante politeness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
I
they
like
go,
that.
why the suit? And you're like, movies.
You see the movie? It's just,
It's one of those.
So that is where the future is going, if you think about it, right? Because what we do now in society is the digital world is we have clips of what we do that people comment on and go, hey, you're a shithead. And if we just keep moving forward in that direction, eventually everything's going to be videoed and everything you do will get commented on.
Unfortunately, a lot of the shitheadedness begets success.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the shitheads in videos frequently get more popular.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Their level of fame goes up.
Yeah.
But it does destroy people's lives. Like the lady who like screams at someone on an airport and they go like, then that person can't walk around because they're just getting shamed.
Yeah.
Right.
You
I
had
mean-
shame stuff
Oh yeah.
to talk about for talking
Yeah.
about, not.
Oh yeah. We'll do that next episode.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I have shame.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Loads. What?
Yeah.
They were just saying that. I was like, yeah, of course. But of course, I didn't even flinch.
Feeling shame right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That lady who called a kid the N-word and then they did a GoFundMe and she got like almost $1 million.
Yeah.
That's
made
sort of what I'm. Yeah.
Me say, do I call the kid an N-word for the $1 million?
And that's
Do we
the thing.
stage this?
I know.
But that's the thing is like it begets more, it like causes more
Right.
people to do more shitty things.
Yeah.
I get that. Hey, kid, what I'm about to say, I don't mean it. I'm about to give you $100,000. Okay, I'll split it with him, I
Yeah.
guess. This guy's got a
Split
better
it.
offer. These guys
Yeah.
undercutting me here. He's offering you more money. Right?
He's like double it if you call me another thing. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, you know,
I'll call you an older one. People don't even know what it means anymore.
Yeah.
all right.
Where we
Lex,
at?
where we at in time? Rolling to another one. Oh, all right.
All right. We could kind of. Do we have any loops we wanted to close?
Or we could mosey. I
We
mean,
didn't
I,
get any. Did we hit any of things? We parents. We still got to
Why
talk about
don't
parents.
I mean? Do you? We got into parents a little bit.
yeah. We can do. I mean, shame seems like a big one for next episode.
Yeah, that feels like next
Yeah.
episode. Let's dig into shame.
shame and fundraising. Yeah, go ahead.
I did want to say
Shame
this.
and fundraising.
But we did hit Talktown stuff along the way.
Yeah,
we
we
just
got
kind of
some we got
organically.
assistance for parents, which
Yeah.
I really, 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 really want in real life.
yeah.
I'd like to do two things.
Criminals. I don't know why they don't do this with criminals.
What?
Assistance for parents. They're always doing like community service. They're picking
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
That's
off
the
the
guy
road.
you want around old people. A criminal. That guy's going to take your wallet, take his wallet. You do not want criminals hanging around the elderly. They will immediately scam them.
Yeah.
You generally want very good people to be around the
Yeah,
elderly.
this is true.
I suppose it depends on the
part
crime
of the
too.
it depends on the crime
Yeah,
and part of
you
the
got, like, some
rehabilitation process.
Yeah, no, man,
Yeah.
that's like, that's like putting a nudie lady in front of someone who likes nudies.
Can you
know what I mean?
imagine?
I
That guy's gonna be
I
grabbing.
got so sidetracked by the verbiage you used. I don't even know what you said.
Yeah.
A nudie
What?
lady
We
in front
don't want
of
to
nudies.
reward the nudie freaks out there.
Yeah, man, that guy's going to be peeping.
I see what
Rock
you're saying.
Hard's going to go nuts for this one.
Two things. One, subscribe to our Patreon.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of great episodes up there. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It also keeps the podcast going. Two, I want to throw this your way. So we got Big Kev on the pod today, right?
We got Big Kev.
The milkman.
He had a great appearance. I want to know, would you be comfortable sending us a clip of your stand-up? We put it on at the end. This way people could then know,
Oh, sure.
hey, I
Oh,
like
yeah.
this guy. I like this comic.
I think that's great.
I think
Kind of
it's
like
a great
late night
idea.
show. You have the stand-up at the end.
That is
Yeah.
what I was going to say. Yeah, a little live
Why
late
not?
night show. Hell yeah.
A reward for making it all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather have my a stand-up clip of mine on this as opposed to like when you do like a really shitty comedy club and they just take your viral clip and
Yeah.
post it and it's like,
Yeah.
well, you got followers for you now, but like I don't
Right.
give a shit about that.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
So yeah, I would rather do that for you guys.
Yeah, and then you get to like people will then know your they'll be, I know because I hate podcast culture. I want to bring it back to stand-up culture, which is we do the podcast, but then gets people back into
To stand-up.
Not just I want to hear this guy on other stand-up.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this idea.
You didn't incorporate the KKK, pedophiles,
Yeah.
nothing. Just a solid idea.
Yeah,
coming
it's a
from you.
great idea.
Wow.
Well, that's the thing now. Every time I got to go to make a joke, I go, "Is this about pedophiles?" Go to another. Go left. Go right.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that because of Allison has been so harsh.
Well, it's just that
Harsh, I would say even unfair.
yeah.
it really comes up a lot, and we don't have a solution for this. It's just kind of a huge bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to swerve off it where it's like, that's real.
Be like, yeah, they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
We don't.
We all got our things. Greg
Yeah.
brings up pedophiles. I lie down.
I'm
Your
annoying.
general disposition.
Your weird meal
Peop-
times.
We haven't had correct. We
Yeah.
haven't had an ad in a minute, so
Oh yeah.
buy some ads, guys. Get
Yeah.
out here. We don't have nearly enough brothers beefing through us for $20 at a time. So
And we've had pretty much only one person has taken us up on our offer of being on the podcast
yeah.
for $100.
$100. You said it's
Per-
$100.
Yeah, 10 minutes is $100
10
for
minutes.
10 minutes.
We'll if it's going well,
Loose.
it keeps
you gotta
going.
That's
set
a
an
loose
alarm.
10.
Something beeps at 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you got
that's
to be
a-
real
That's
distinct.
a loose 10. One person has done it. They were on here for 35
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, it was a whole episode.
it
and
also
we
is-
had a blast because she was killing it.
Yeah, she was great.
Also, how much do we have prepared after you're on? If we don't have a lot prepared on that episode, you might get extra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If I'm kind of tired, Anthony's kind of sick,
Yeah.
you might get some extra time.
yeah.
a lot of this is banking on you bringing the
Yeah.
heat
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
going to make an appearance.
No, don't make them feel like they got to bring the heat. I want them to
No.
know is we'll make you funny.
Yeah, yeah. We'll
Just
put
come
you
on.
over, but
put
you
you
know,
over.
We'll set you up.
You have a thing that they want to come on because they have a thing that they're upset with. you
Yes.
know?
Sure.
So if you have an idea for society that needs to change, please.
Get on here.
$100
Oh, yeah.
to come talk about it over Zoom, or you could come here, I guess, if you live in Queens,
Definitely come here.
or New York.
Or $20 will be the conduit for your thingy.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't just have to be a blood feud between brothers.
right. It could be your Talktown idea.
Right. Do you want to say in yourself because you're worried about jeopardizing your job or family, whatever? We'll do it.
We'll say anything you want. That's what
Oh.
$20 buys.
Doesn't even have to be talked down.
No, anything.
Next week, I want to bring up this. Don't let me forget, but this is an incentive to have them come back. I have a low, kind of like, what's it called? A lesser, the court will be called a low,
Smaller.
Smaller claims court.
Smaller claims hitmen. We'll talk about that.
Oh, I'm excited.
next week.
All right.
Whoa, a
That's
cliffhanger.
spicy.
So
Yeah.
tune in. Great.
Great.
Oh wait, Kev,
Oh.
do you want to
Oh,
plug
you want to
stuff?
plug anything?
Sure.
Right.
Because you're about to hear his stand-up.
Sorry.
Just at Kevin Mccaffery. You can find me on all the, your Instagrams, your TikToks, and
But
that business.
Kevin's got albums, man.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got
Two
stuff.
albums.
Kevin's a great fucking stand-up.
One of my
Thank you.
faves.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are all great too.
Great radio voice, and you're not even in radio.
I have been, but I'm not. I'm not at the moment. But yeah,
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk
is-
about it next week. A couple podcasts with the very funny John Daly, Sex and the City podcast, and
Oh.
the Bridgerton podcast.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that was very fun.
yeah, you can just you'll find it.
Awesome.
There it is.
Welcome to Talk Town, where the